flush it out. If we don't flush it out properly, we have to physically remove it. So again, that is something that, like I said, you may have to get into this pump. The gear pump, I don't anticipate you guys ever really having to get into that for a long period of time. And there is a actual breakdown of the pump, which you can actually see. Item 8 is the mechanical seal, item 1 is the impeller, and item number 4, it looks like it's the diaphragm. And again, those are the pieces that you're going to be your typical wear pieces. Your diaphragms usually get ruptured, or like I said, if they the holes get plugged up or something like that, that's something they may have to take apart, replace, or clean. Your impeller may get plugged up with polymer. Again, if that's something that, if the too excessive of the polymer gets in there, that might be something you have to pull apart, clean up, get some any clumps of polymer or anything like that out of there. And then your mechanical seal, which is an actual wearing part, over a period of time, have to be replaced. Could be 2 years down the line, could be 10 years down the line. That's time will tell on that. More information on the irrigator pumps. Again, like I said, the irrigator pump, it's a Gould's pump. It's the G&L line, and it's a, like I said, it's a workhorse for mostly the irrigation lines. Anytime it's water transfer, pool pumps, and all that type of stuff. These pumps are out there by the millions of these pumps out there. So again, there's a lot of these pumps out there. It's a time-proven pump. There really isn't too much any problems with these things, other than, like I said, diaphragms occasionally get ruptured or plugged up. The impellers, again, it's a centrifugal impeller, so any type of product that gets in there could cause either plugging up of the impeller, or, like I said, if the polymer gets in there and it doesn't get flushed out, and that's only going to happen if there's something not working properly as far as the plant water. I believe it's plant water that's being fed into this thing. Is not being supplied properly. And again, most of that stuff's going to be all ironed out before we turn everything over. So again, unless something goes wrong, physically someone closes a ball valve, or a solenoid doesn't open, or flow gets shut off down there, that's the only time. If polymer does get into the pump, it's going to have to be flushed out. So like I said, it's whether we can physically flush it out and make sure everything looks good, or if we have to pull the pump apart and actually go through the cleaning. That's the only thing, like I said, that may have to be done on these pumps. You do have some pump curves in here. And again, the pump curve is mainly going to be something that, if there's a type of problem that all of a sudden the pump isn't working, that's what I mean. Feel free to give me a call. That's something I can, especially where I've already seen your system. It's easier for me to be able to talk to you over the phone and walk through a couple of scenarios as far as checking, making sure that water's getting into the pump, the rotation's right. A lot of these little things that we can just quickly double check to make sure that you actually have a pump problem, and it's not something real silly as far as a plug strainer or plant water shut off someplace else, and actual get pressure on the gauges, rotation's right, those type of things. The pump curve is supplied in here because, again, if you can tell me what the pump is doing, it's a lot easier for me to be able to walk through, see where we are in the pump curve, and find out, is it a pump problem, is it not a pump problem, is it something after the pump as far as it's everything else is fine, we got a blockage down line someplace where so maybe some polymer had settled in and blocked the line or something like that. So that is provided in here, and that is pretty much it as far as the system goes. Would you guys like to take a walk down there and see the system, or that'll be up to you guys? Like I said, if you guys want to see the system, I'll be more than happy to go down there and take a look and go through with that. We can go down and take a look at it. And if you got any questions as far as the pump, the operation, things like that, I can answer questions down there also. All right, thank you, gentlemen. All that stuff right there for a quick clean out. So again, if you do get product in there, it's not, if it has to be pulled apart and cleaned up, inspected, we're not talking something that's going to be a half a day down on this thing. We're literally talking an hour of pulling it apart, inspecting it, cleaning it, and throwing it back in. And any type of work, if you have to break any of this stuff apart, do inspections, always make sure the control panels are locked out. Proper, safety precautions is necessary on this type of stuff. Other than that, there's not a whole lot wrong. The solenoid valve, again, is going to be part of your feed system coming in. You're going to have your polymer feeding in. You're going to have your water feeding in. It's going to mix the two together, coming back out the discharge and flowing out through your system. Once everything is all set up, like I said, you do have a little flow wheel here and also a bypass. So again, if something does, the solenoid doesn't start working, you notice there's a problem with your polymer line. You come down, you notice that you're not getting flow here. Again, that's something that I would quickly recommend to shut the system down, lock it out, flush this pump out as much as you can, find out, if it's a solenoid, if it's not a solenoid, or if it is a solenoid, you can open up the bypass lines, at least get some water in there, flushing out the pump as much as you can before you have to pull it apart. But that's the only thing, is if there is a problem, get the polymer flushed out as quickly as possible to prevent problems with the diaphragms and things like that. Other than that, there's not too much else wrong to go with this thing. There's no maintenance, no maintenance, no maintenance, no maintenance, no maintenance, no maintenance, and no maintenance. So as far as most of this stuff goes, you're not going to have to maintain much. If you do notice packing, excessive leakage out of the packing, you are going to have to make some packing adjustments. But short of that's it on these type of pumps. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much then. This is your polymer feed system, which is condensed of your polymer feed pump and your mixed flow polymer mixing pump. You have a Brown & Sharp gear pump in here, which is just going to be a gear pump. Again, it's depending on rotation, it's going to be which way the flow goes. Right hand rotation is going to be pumping this way. Left hand rotation is going to be pumping this way. Whichever way the shaft actually turns is going to be actually pointing to the direction of the flow itself. You have a Reliance sealed motor that has no grease fittings. It's sealed for life. Close coupled to the gearbox, which is again close coupled to another reducer gearbox. Both gearboxes are sealed for life with their synthetic oils inside. If there's any oil leakage at all around the bottom, if you find any oil leakage at all, let us know, because then it's only leak paths on here is either gasketed surface around the edge, or there's a couple lip seals inside. A couple lip seals inside of each side of here. But again, these are the only means of lubrication to be leaking out of there. So those would be one of the things to check. You do have a coupling inside here. Alignments have been verified, and then you have your packing adjustments just inside the coupling guard. So again, packing is going to be something that's going to have to be done over a period of time as adjustments. Coupling should be good, gearboxes should be good, no maintenance, and no maintenance on the motors. On the G&L pump, again, you have it's a self-priming end suction centrifugal pump. So again, if rotation does get mixed up, it's something that's going to be a little less easy to see as far as the gauges, which way it's pumping. Again, you can kind of see a little bit of the shaft in there, not a whole lot, but you can actually see a little bit of the shaft, and that would be the rotation check. On the discharge gauge, it's pretty easy to tell rotation as far as which way this pump is going. As it's a positive displacement pump, which means as long as the shaft is turning, you are moving fluid or product one way or another. So again, if you're moving product this way, you're going to be getting some kind of a reading on your discharge gauge. It could be very little, depending on what's exactly happening and how fast it's pumping, but you should get some kind of a positive reading. Usually, if it's running, you should be seeing anywhere from 50, 60 psi, somewhere in this range here. If for some reason rotation does get changed and it's now pumping this rotation, This gauge again will tell you quick and fast, because instead of pumping up, it's going to be basically pumping down, and you'll see the arrow pinned right against the pin right down below. That means rotation has changed, and that's something that can be quickly checked upon as far as which way the rotation's going. In any type of work, if you have to break any of this stuff apart, do inspections. Always make sure the control panels are locked out. Proper, safety precautions is necessary on this type of stuff. Other than that, there's not a whole lot wrong. The solenoid valve, again, is going to be part of your feed system coming in. You're going to have your polymer feeding in. You're going to have your water feeding in. It's going to mix the two together, coming back out the discharge and flowing out through your system. Once everything is all set up, like I said, you do have a little flow wheel here and also a bypass. So again, if something the solenoid doesn't start working, you notice there's a problem with your polymer line. Come down, you notice that you're not getting flow here. Again, that's something that I would quickly recommend to shut the system down, lock it out, flush this pump out as much as you can, find out, if it's a solenoid, if it's not a solenoid, or if it is a solenoid, you can open up the bypass lines, at least get some water in there, flushing out the pump as much as you can before you have to pull it apart. But that's the only thing, is if there is a problem, get the polymer flushed out as quickly as possible to prevent problems with the diaphragms and things like that. Other than that, there's not too much else wrong with, to go with this thing. There's no maintenance, no maintenance, no maintenance, no maintenance, no maintenance, no maintenance, and no maintenance. So, as far as most of this stuff goes, you're not going to have to maintain much. If you do notice packing, excessive leakage out of the packing, you are going to have to make some tacking adjustments. But short of that, that's it on these type of pumps. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much then.